Good everyone, today's video. Today we have a review on the Russian PBY-5A Catalina. This one's going to be nice and simple. If you want a more in-depth review of the Catalina, please go take a look at my British Catalina Mark III review. This one's just going to be a lot simpler, because obviously if you go check out that video, it'll explain it a little better than the actual aircraft's performance a little better than the actual this review, because I'm not going to go into it all that much is all I'll say. So the Russian PBY-5A Catalina comes in at the same price as the British Catalina, and unlike the British Catalina, I actually think this thing is worth it. However, not at full price. Don't buy this thing at full price. Get it on a discount like I did during a sale for 440 GE. Now I know that some of you experienced players, you're probably going to be laughing at me for saying that. Yeah, there's a good reason why I think this thing is actually worth it for the low-tier Russian premium bombers, because it's better than the Hampton, is all I'll say. Now, fair enough, the Hampton has a bit better bomb load, but the Hampton is expensive. The Hampton's like, what, 1600 GE, something like that? It's a ridiculously overpriced aircraft for what it is. And with the lower tier Russians not really having that many good bombers that I can think of. I mean, unless you count the PB1s and the Su2s, there isn't really much that I would consider to be an amazing bomber. If we take a look at the Russian bomber line, you can see what I mean. I mean, we've got SBs, Yak-4, AR-2. The only real valid options are the Su2s and the Yak-2. And no, I'm not mentioning the Po-2. This is this is once every year during the Halloween event, and this is not a good bomber. So yeah, as you would have seen in my review for it. But yeah, all I'll say is at least it's better than half the stuff you can get. I mean, sure, Zukovsky's Chaika blows this thing out of the park, but this ain't a bomber. The Hampton is overpriced, and the TB3 is a gift vehicle which you can only get once in a blue moon. If we go higher up in the tiers, there is no rank 2 Russian bombers, and the rank 2 Russian bombers are terrible, except for maybe the Peshkas. And as we go up in BR, I mean, yeah, the P8's a meme, and the Peshkas are getting worse, but the only other valid bomber is the B-25, and that kind of sucks in today's matchmaking. I mean, it sucked already, but, I mean, a couple of years back it was fine, but not nowadays. And that only really leaves you with the Catalina. And for 440 GE, if you could get it on a sale, you're going to have a lot of fun with this thing. Now, as mentioned in the Catalina Mark III review, if you've gone and see, or if you've already watched that video, if you've been around the channel, of course, or if you're not new here, I should really say. I said in this video you're going to be seeing a bit of Russian bias, and I really do think it's the paint job, because Jesus Christ, this thing took a beating. In one of the battles that I had in the British Catalina, it took a lot of damage, but it didn't take anything in comparison to what this thing did in this battle. And I'm smelling a bit of Russian bias, is all I'm saying. I know that's an old meme, and a lot of people still believe in that crap, but I still think there's a bit of Russian bias going on. So, as previously mentioned, I'm not really going to be going over the aircraft all that much. The gunners are the same as the British Catalina. The bomb loads and the weaponry that you have on board is the same. Same mines, 1,000-pound bombs, 100-pound bombs, the 500s that are never used, and the torpedoes that are never used. But for a naval player, because I know Russia has some really powerful ships, this thing's going to be great, is all I'll say. 2 torpedoes, because there's hardly any torpedo bombers in the Russian tech tree. I think they've only got like 4, if that. They've got this, they've got the Hampton, then they've got, I think the IL-4 carries a torp. Yes, it does, it's just there. And then there's the Tu-14T, but I don't know if you can take jet bombers into ships at the moment. I don't know, but It's likely you can. Let me know if you can and can't, because I don't actually know. I don't have a clue. But with the new dreadnoughts, these things might become a thing if they are allowed, because the dreadnoughts hardly have any AA protection, and they're not going to be able to hit these with what little AA protection they have. But for 440G on sale, 880G, which I don't recommend you pay for this thing, off sale, I think this thing is a great aircraft for this tech tree. So let's get into a bit of Russian bias, because trust me, this was some fucking Russian bias. I swear there's a bit of Russian bias going on. I know that's a very old meme, and I know some people hate that meme, but there's definitely some fucking Russian bias, because there is no way I should have survived this for as long as I did. I didn't survive the battle because I had to put the plane down, but I would love to know what the hell was going on with this Catalina. I swear it must have been freaking Terminator. This, as Harry would say, this was a Terminator match. And I'd love to know how this thing did it. So, as you can tell by the bomb count up there, we are carrying the 16 100-pounder bombs. These are more for carpet bombing or for this sort of map where it's just armoured cars and howitzers. That's what I tend to focus on. If I can at least get a couple of kills with these bombs, I'll leave the bases for maybe next run, because obviously you can land on the airfield fully undamaged, J out once you've stopped, change your bomb load, and then you can go from there. You can bomb bases, you can do anything in the Catalina, really. Now, there are a couple of tanks on this map, but I tend not to focus on those. I tend to go for the armoured cars from high altitude. But since this is a 21-minute battle, and it's a bloody long one, for good reason, I'm not going to be sugarcoating most of this. If you've seen the British Catalina review, you've seen most of what the Catalinas can do. I would love, though, to have some Berezins on this bloody thing, is all I will say. So at this point, this is where I clock a 4-man squad on the enemy team. And there you can see that little shit plink in my paint there, but being stellinium, that's when this thing's made of fucking stellinium. The Russians just didn't tell you during World War II when they were given these things. This thing has stellinium. I swear it does, because, honest to God, that 50 cal should have at least done some damage. It did nothing. It didn't even come up on the bloody damage model. Like, it didn't even come up at all. And I know some people are going to say, and just think that is a replay bug, just to let you know. It's been happening a lot with bombers recently, that sort of replay bug. I don't know why, but it's just been happening with bombers recently, and subsequently recording premium bombers is actually kind of hard, because it's just looking like it's some, like, the plane's just going from side to side. And here you can see I've got it at 4 times speed just to get us along a bit, and that's the last of the bombs out. But as you saw, the plane was just going from left to right, and it makes it kind of awkward when you're trying to explain the capability of a premium bomber. But as you can tell, Nose Gunner wants a crack at this guy. He, unfortunately, this is mostly my fault because obviously I took manual control. My aim was a little shit with the 30 cal in the nose, and well, I didn't get any hits. And the Hangar 100, who we're going to see him later, because he was like me. He was thinking, what the fuck? He was thinking that this was amazing. Like, there's no way a Catalina's just done this. But I'm treading into spoiler territory. Is all I'll say. So at this point, obviously, I'm out of bombs, and I figured, let's go after that 4-man squad. Fair enough, there's only 3 of them here. The 4th one's too busy engaging. But I decided, let's party, boys. Let's see if you can take on this whale. But unfortunately, unbeknownst to me, this guy came out of nowhere. And I believe, yes, he almost took out the left blister gunner. But he's Ivan. He doesn't care about Frenchy pew-pew. Pea shooter pulls up here to try and take a shot at me, but he enters the blister zone, and that 50 cal just bitch slaps him to oblivion. That's going to be kill number 1. Pouring on the pain, but we're starting to lose crew here. The left blister gunner goes for a nap, and I immediately notice this, and I have to bring the plane turning right, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to shoot at this guy. Again, replay shows that I'm not hitting the H75 with the 50 cal. I am hitting with him with the 50 cal. And I'm just pouring on the pain. I don't know why he stopped firing, but once that engine went on fire, he left it alone. Of course, there's always going to be someone who tries and steals it, but it's low tier, what do you expect? But that fire is going to finish him off, and one of the pea shooters is now pulling up for me. But we're continuing to take hits. Those 30 cals just simply blinked the hull. They didn't do anything. I damaged Curtis, and he's going to come back for more, and him and his cronies are going to keep coming back. They want a taste of the Catalina, and this Catalina's got rabies, because Jesus Christ, this thing pulled off something that I'd never expect. And funny thing is, once I've finished with this recording, I'm actually going to send this replay off to a mate of mine, one of my mods in my Discord, because even he won't believe this bullshit, because this should not have happened. But the Catalina's still fighting on strong. We've still got 150 cal working, about 300 to 250 rounds I would guess in the gun remaining. And with the Lieutenant Curtis damaged and lost of a wingtip, the Catalina has to start pulling more of its weight. But as you can tell, this thing can A, take a pounding, and B, cause fear in a squad of 4 flying US planes. Because A, they don't expect a premium Catalina, and B, they don't expect one to be this aggressive. Because I just thought, why not be aggressive and see how it goes, and sure enough it works. But at this point, Kevos, I don't know how you say that, comes in for a crack at the old Catalina. He starts plinking the hull, and I'm just pouring on the pain, and eventually the 50s blow him out the sky. I don't know why it took so long to die from those 50s, but he did. That's kill number 3. I got an assist on Lieutenant Curtis from earlier, and obviously we have the 3 ground targets from earlier on. But we're now down to a P-36A, a P-36G, and that's all that's left. But this Catalina's not done yet. She wants another round. So I switch to the 30 cal gunner and I start blazing away at him, trying to get some shots onto target. And you'll notice whenever I turn the aircraft, I'm using the gunners as soon as I can. I'm in a sharp turn at this point, and I'm still leading to get shots on target with the gunners. I get a crit on him, but he completely butchers my aircraft for the most part. He goes for a ram, but misses the ram. And at this point, I'm having to fight the controls. The left wing is completely shot to hell. The tail is shot to hell. Most of the crew is either dead or wounded, except for one pilot. 50 cal, or one of the 30 cal gunners is actually on the reload right now, and I believe the 50 is low, but she's still fighting. He almost rams me there. I'm fairly certain if he wanted to ram me, he would have gone for it, but he makes the fatal mistake. He gets shredded by the 50 and the 30 there. But as you can tell, this, as tough as the Selenium and the actual aircraft is, she has took an absolute pounding. If I just go to the damage model here, you can see most of the crew, apart from the nose gunner, the lower gunner, and one of the pilots, is either dead or wounded. Wounded severely, and most of the aircraft is completely shot to hell, apart from the edge of the right wing. And I decided at this point, I think this Catalina's had enough, let's try and take her home. Because, as I said in the chat there, she's like Swiss cheese. But as you can tell, the pilot of the autopilot, because obviously you have the instructor, is actually having to side slip the aircraft like you would in a glider. in order to keep this thing from going into the ground. But sadly, as tough as this old girl is, I'm afraid to say, folks, but she's not getting home. That P-36G has seen red since I've shot him down, well, I've shot down most of his comrades, and he wants to finish her off for good. The Catalina is a tough girl, but there's only so much hits she can take, even with this rabies-infused rampage. The BF-109 tries to come towards me for a bit of help from the P-36, but this is where the P-36 sees red. I bring the gunners up as one last hurrah, because I knew the bird was finished if he fired off a burst. I pour a long burst in, he kills the 50 cal gunner, damages the fuselage even more, and knocks out engine 2. And that was the death of this aircraft right there. Losing that engine, even though it was dying already, and I maybe could have gotten it back on one engine. With the additional damage he's inflicted, and the loss of that engine, whilst we did get the 4th kill, we're on a ticking time bomb. The aircraft is losing speed, losing altitude, and I made the decision at this point to try and find somewhere to put this plane down. And there's the H2100 pilot in chat saying you're nuts, because, well, 4 kills in the Catalina is practically unheard of for the most part. But as you can tell, the left engine is overheating, so I'm actually having to throttle back in order to prevent the left engine dying. But this was the end for the Catalina, and I decided if we're going to land her anywhere, we'll make sure the crew that are alive can at least get on a truck or something and get back home. But most of the gunners are dead. I mean, the nose gunner's dead. The only gunner that's actually alive is the lower gunner, and the right hand pilot is the only one that is alive. And that one unharmed pilot knew that this aircraft was not going to get much further, so we had to use the float underneath the aircraft, which is obviously part of the hull, as a battering ram to get past this tree, which it doesn't actually show it in the replay, but we knocked that tree down and managed to safely land the aircraft. Albeit sort of. But as you can tell, I think there's a bit of Russian bias involved. This aircraft should not have taken the pounding that it did, but it did. As you can probably tell though, I'm joking. This aircraft's main fuselage area has basically nothing inside of it. So it enables it to actually take the pounding that it can, because there's pretty much nothing in the fuselage, and most of the wing area is actually just wing area, and it's quite chunky, so most of the time it's either going to get stopped by a wing spar, or if it's a non-incendiary round, it's going to get, well, it's going to hit the fuel and just not do anything. But for other premium bombers of this tech tree, the only other one I can recommend is the B6. But if you want a low tier fun box, I think this thing might be worth it. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's review on the Russian PBY-5A Catalina, and I will catch you all on the next one.